back to Bennystake. I'm your girl Benny, and listen, I'm here to bring you really quickly my thoughts of the week. We haven't done this in a good second, so my docket is full. I'm talking about it's overflowing. It's a lot going on. I feel behind on all of my thoughts, but I also don't like rushing myself to just share like thoughts just like for general topics, because I want to think about certain things. I want to research, like I want to read on things, right? Like, y'all remember when people used to read? Like, you remember when people used to read before they actually spoke? That's what I be trying to do over here. But like sometimes I feel like I've been stuck just like in the research, in the educate yourself type kind of, you know, phase before I can actually talk about things. But I thought I'd come over here and just give you like a few of my thoughts. I have so many thoughts written down. I got so many thoughts here, and I've been trying to compile them a little bit so it kind of like makes a little bit more sense. But if you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you always don't want to upload. I'm wearing this shirt by this brand called Moda, I believe they're called. Such a cute almost like a mini dress of some sort, right? Now the story is, we were talking in the email and whatever the case is, and she done asked me for my size, right? And I was like, you know, I could be like a large, right? But like if I want like a baggy look, I can go ahead and get me like an extra large, right? So she was like, you know, for a baggy look, because like our clothes run a little bit more like a little stretchy, but sometimes they run a little big. So I'm just going to give you like the extra large just to be on the safe side, right? So I'm thinking that the cloth going to come and it's going to give like, you know what I'm saying, like loose with it, like it's gonna give baggy, it's gonna give space, right? It's gonna give the space between us, right? I'm thinking it's gonna give, let there be air, let there be room. That's what I'm thinking it's gonna give, y'all. Why this XL fit me just right? I'm talking about it's hugging my body. It is hugging my body. It's hugging all my thigh meat, and I'm taking that as disrespect because I sized up to get a loose fitting. Why are you hugging me right now? Y'all, I'm gonna insert a clip right here so y'all can see how this baby is fitting in my body, because it's like, it's looking disrespectful for me to go ahead and size up and it's still tight, right? Like, we got to be able to talk about it. It's like, I'm a child of God. Like, why my size not gonna align? I sized up, right? I know I serve a big God, but like I need for it sometimes to not reflect how big my God is. Yeah, now it's giving too much milk and honey, and that's a problem. How I'm gonna size up and it still don't feel right. It ain't loose. Yeah, now it's not loose, and that's a problem. But it's cute. It's very cute. I saw how somebody styled it on their page, and I was like, that's how I'm finna style it. I'm finna put my boots. It's gonna be a look. It's gonna give like all the vibes. Lies. I got hips, I got thighs, and I got a bright future behind me, and it just hugged. It just like, it hugged everything. It hugged everything. Yeah, now like it hugged everything. And y'all know I don't be liking to suck my stomach. Y'all gonna get the stomach that I'm gonna give to y'all, because that's the stomach that I got to give. Right? Come as you are. Yeah, now I'm finna come as I am. So it's just a lot. It's a lot of dark me. Yeah, now it's just a lot, and I'm like, I sized up. I really didn't, so that's hurting my feelings a little bit. But it's cute. Right, very cute, as you guys can tell from the video. I love this right here. She sent me like a couple other ones, which I'm gonna also try. I gave one to my sister because it flattered my sister much better. My sister's taller than me. She's not as curvy as I am, so it just looked amazing on her. So I gifted one to my sister, and I kept two for myself. I love the detailing right here. So pretty. And for earrings, y'all always ask me when I post it like on my Instagram. This is by Chosen and Free. Love the brand. It's just like so beautiful. The lady, she's like, I believe she's Liberian. If I'm not mistaken, she's Liberian. And it's just like, it's so pretty. She sent me so many of her pieces. Love it. But let's go ahead and get into my thoughts, okay? Speaking of Liberia and Africa in general, I came across this video. While I understand and I see the sentiments behind why people try to make such videos, I just wanted to bring like a perspective that I feel like if we're not careful, we might actually miss it and perpetuate the same one story, like one side story, like Chimamanda always says. If you guys don't know, Chimamanda is an amazing Nigerian author. Love her books. I believe she actually got a book out right now and I want to get it, but like love her work, love her down. And if you watch her TED Talk, she spoke about the dangers of like the single story, and I feel like videos like this tend to perpetuate that same ideology.
This is what they want you to think the continent of Africa looks like. But this is what it's really like.
Very beautiful, right? Like you see the video, I can see the intent behind it. And first thing I'm gonna say, Africa is a continent, it's not a monolith, right? Like you have over 54 countries, you have hundreds and hundreds of languages, you have cultures, you have like a whole lot going on in Africa, right? Like I am from Congo, which is in Central Africa. Shout out to my people, a lot going on in my country right now. And I've been to Zimbabwe. I have traveled to Nigeria to vacation. So as you can see from the video, obviously like I can tell the heart behind it, right? Like we want to showcase and we want to undo what like Western media has done, like as far as like only showing one side of Africa, only showing the struggles, right, like of Africa, treating Africa as if it's like a monolith, treating Africa as if it's not a continent with 54 countries, different languages, different cultures, different foods, different music, different rhythm and flows, right? Like so I understand the heart behind the video. The only thing I want to caution us, first of all, I want to say this. I often dislike when people make videos like this, or you thought this is how Africa looks like, this is actually what it is. The reason why I dislike it is because y'all don't be making the same videos about American cities. Y'all don't be making the same videos about some of your favorite places to visit, like the Maldives. Y'all don't be making the same videos, of places like, let's say, Jamaica. Y'all don't be making the same videos of places like, Paris. Y'all don't be making these videos of places like Dubai, right? Where if you tell the full story of any of these places that I done mentioned, you have extreme wealth and you also have extreme poverty. In all of those countries, in all of those cities, in all of those your favorite destinations that I mentioned, you have the duality. You have people struggling on one side, and then on the other side of the town, you got people living it up lavishly. But y'all don't show that about America. Y'all don't show that about New York. Y'all don't be showing that about Paris. Y'all don't be showing that about Dubai. Y'all don't be showing that about Jamaica. Y'all don't be showing that about Puerto Rico, Costa Rica. All of your favorite destinations, y'all don't be showing that. Y'all don't be showing the duality of like people with extreme wealth and then the locals who may or may not be struggling. Y'all don't be showing the duality. But for some reason, y'all single out Africa as, mind you, a continent, right? Because like if you look at some of the clips that they show even in this video, those, I'm already seeing like different cultures. Some of those facial features, it's giving me like, maybe like Ethiopia, Somali, like it's giving me one side of Africa. Then you got like, some parts of like West Africa. You got some parts of, Central Africa. Like you got some parts of Southern Africas, right? Like you got different parts of Africa, East Africa. Like you got different parts of Africa grouped into one. Or something like, well, Africa, they're just not struggling. They also got this. And like, I get the heart behind it, but it's like, I would respect y'all if y'all did the same thing for New York. Because on one side, you got the skyscrapers, you got people living it up lavishly. On the other side, you see people living in poverty. You see houses stacked up against each other. You see roaches. You see all of those things. Why I don't be doing that for other countries? I've never been to Jamaica, but I've heard once you leave the resorts, once you leave like, the resorty area, it's a different side of Jamaica that people don't be seeing. Every place in this entire world is going to have the extreme poverty, but they're also going to have the extreme wealth, the extreme luxury. Capitalism has affected the world as we know it. You got people in extreme wealth and you got people in extreme poverty. If we're going to single out Africa as a continent, let's do that for all these other places. Right? Because I want y'all to show me New York in its entirety. I want y'all to show me the beautiful, most pristine parts of New York, but I also want y'all to show me the dirt on the road. I also want y'all to show me how people are struggling, how people live in cramped up spaces. I want y'all to show that as well. I want y'all to show that. I want y'all to show all the parts of freaking, Jamaica. Every place you go is going to have the most beautiful places. They're going to have their struggles. They're going to have their ebb and they're going to have their flows. Every place going to have that. But for some reason, y'all just be like, look at the Africans. $1 a day can save the Africans. If y'all don't do that, then y'all on another side, which is my second point, to say like, this is what they showed you about Africa, but this is what Africa actually is like, is also unfair. Because those two are true. I have experienced both sides of the Africa that you're talking about. I've experienced both sides of it, right? So I appreciate that they put like all they showed, right? Like, because the Western media, all they showed was the struggling, all they showed was the, the pain in Africa and all that stuff, without ever showing the beauty, without ever showing our laughter. Because one thing I will tell you, one thing that is common amongst African countries, amongst the African people, regardless of your language, your tribe, or wherever it is that you're from, one thing that is true about us is that we have a joy unlike no other. African people have a joy that can only come from like within, right? Like we have a joy that can only come from above. For a people who have been colonized, for people who's, you have, Black Americans who were stolen from their lands, right? Like who were stolen and enslaved in this country, right? They were stolen from their land. Africans who remained, we had our land stolen from us, right? Like different struggles. And Africans in general, and even Black people, the amount of joy that we still exude, because there's just something, there's just a resilience, like there's just a way that we rise above everything, right? That is just like so beautiful. So that's something that we share, right? But we cannot also deny that not everybody is living in the second part where you had added the music and like did the song. Like not everybody is living like that. In fact, the majority of people are struggling, just like it is in the US, mind you. Because it's like with everything going even politically, you have the middle class disappearing. It's either you are incredibly poor or like below poverty line, or you are like rich. What are we doing? Hey, baby. I'm recording. So the I just got back. I can do that in a little bit if you don't mind. How was the shopping? Now I'm running my mouth asking this baby to be gentler, and this is what was making the noise. I done got me some flowers. Well, they been got me some flowers. So thank you, baby. You're not gonna say you're welcome? He's not being nice to me, y'all. But in this queue, this is nice. But like, I want us to show that as the reality of the world, and we need to stop centering Africa in a conversation, and either we are on one side or we are on the other extreme. Currently, there's like, war. There's like a lot of, political conflicts happening in Sudan. A lot is happening in, in Congo, my country. You got, economic unrest. You got economic struggles happening in Nigeria right now. The very same place where on one side, you're doing Dirty December. You have all these people coming, throwing their money, being lavish and doing the things. Like we went to one club and they literally had like a Don Julio bottle, or like, was it a Don Julio? It was like some kind of a drink. But they had that drink for literally like $1,000. $1,000 US. Right? The place was beautiful. I think it was called like the library. Place was beautiful. We looked at each other like 1,000. It's not even your fault. It's us that came in here. We left with the quickness because $1,000 on a bottle. Are you mad? But there were people there who had bottles. There were people there who had bottles. The $1,000, that was the cheapest. There were people there living it up lavishly. Lavishly. Right? Foreigners and, residents alike. People were living it up lavishly. But as soon as you leave, you see kids struggling. You see, the poverty. You see the homelessness. You see a lot going on. You got that everywhere that you go. You got that in the US. You got that in South Africa. You got that in all parts of the world. You got that in Dubai. On one hand, you have, Dubai money. Like you got that oil money. Right? Like you have that on one side. But then on the other side, you also have extreme poverty. That's the reality for the rest of the world. But for some reason, we always center Africa, and we don't even center each African country to really see like what makes this particular country beautiful. No, we speak of it like as a monolith. We speak of it as like one place. I get what it tries to do. But the second part is a very small part of the African story. Just like it is a very small part of the stories in Dubai, of the stories in New York. You got people living it up in penthouses, flaunting their money, but then you got people blocks away, a couple blocks away, a train ride away. Where I live at, where I used to live at, like where my parents used to live at, literally within like 15 minutes of a drive, and that's with traffic, you see the difference. You see the difference. It's crazy. And this is happening right here. I live in Connecticut. This is happening right here in Connecticut. It's the same in New York. It's the same in Atlanta. It's the same in Detroit. It's the same. But somehow we just like center one particular group. We just center Africans in this conversation. We're like, it's not this, it's really this. No, it's both. Just like it is everywhere else. So I get it, but I'm also just kind of like, I'm done. Like, I'm just ready for us to leave Africans alone, right? Like the West, get out of our land, get out of our resources, leave us alone. We can handle ourselves. If you just remove your foot, if you remove the wall, if you stop sending and wreaking havoc so that you can extort our resources, extort all of, all the beauty, the natural resources, and extort and steal all that we have to contribute to the world. If you just did that, we will be fine. Like, keep our names out your mouth. Like, I'm just ready for us, like, just low-key stop. Because Africans, I know for me as a Congolese girl, I've experienced both. There's been parts of my life where I could only see the lavishness. I could only see the lavish, display of wealth from afar and dream maybe that I could have access to it. But my reality was the very first thing that you showed. The very first thing. And some people, that's all they've seen. They've never really experienced that. But that's the very few. That really is. And that's the case for everywhere in the world. Not just in Africa. And I'm saying Africa because the video referred to it as Africa. You got 54 countries. You got 54 countries. Comment down below and let me know, but to me, I'm just ready for this to be over. Speaking of things that I'm tired of, I'm also tired of people who just don't want to cheat in peace. Right? Like, I'm tired of dudes, or even just like women sometimes, but I mostly see it in dudes who just don't want to step out on their women and step out on their wives, their girlfriends, their fiancés, who just don't want to go ahead and cheat in peace. They got to be coming over here with a dissertation to calculate and explain the things to the people of God. So you got this actor, I believe his name is Kofi, very handsome black man, a lot of people's faves, and this baby had this to say.
Relationships lasted 3, 4, 5 years each, so then, and then to fast forward, my life changed, so there was a different, I started working every day. Then there's the fame element and the abundance of people and exposure. And
so I'm just gonna pause this and say right here, right? The conversation at hand is about ethical non-monogamy, which is just like a fancy way of like, let's just go ahead and two-zero, like blow any trumpet we want to, cross any canal, and do the things. And I really want you guys to focus and pay attention to the reasoning he's giving for the lifestyle, the reasonings that he's giving to justify or to explain to the people of God why now he believes in ethical non-monogamy. I used to be in relationships, right? And then I started working. He's an actor. The more I started working, the more fame that I got, the more visibility that I got, right? The more eyeballs that I got, the more my schedule got a little bit tighter, right? Like the more people saw how handsome I am, the more people started eyeballing me. These are the reasons that he's giving for now believing in, ethical non-monogamy. Just because you got the money now, just because you got the fame now, just because you got the eyeballs on you, now we're trying to two-zero and do the things.
I've just had different shifts and different seasons where it seems like sometimes monogamy feels like role play, and it sometimes feels restrictive, so there's an element of it that feels performative. And I understand the tradition of it. I understand the deeper, I understand that, but then there's a part of me that just had questions. So I went through some phases where I'm like, well, why?
But when you ain't had the fame, when you ain't had the money, when eyeballs were not on you, the woman that you have by your side, the woman that probably supported you, the woman that probably saw you through, the woman that was quote-unquote performing the role of the supporter in your life to help you level up. Now you're feeling restricted. You're feeling like, oh, sort of, kind of like I'm trying to, You ain't had that problem when you had nothing and a half. Because let's keep it a buck. If you're like, these Hollywood, stars, not everybody makes it. It's a lot of people struggling. It's a lot of people in between jobs. It's a lot of people who have one gig and never got another. It takes a second. Not everybody is Denzel. Not everybody is Idris Elba. Not everybody is Viola Davis. Not everybody is, Marilyn Monroe. Not everybody. Who Marilyn Monroe? That baby was like, that's not even who I'm talking about. But y'all get the point. Not everybody's Jennifer, Hudson, Jennifer Aniston, all of the Jennifers. In between, it's a lot of struggles. But when you had nothing and a half, you ain't had the restriction though. The people that you're in relationships with that were probably supporting you, that were probably sticking by you, while you were still in between the roles, in between the auditions. It wasn't a problem then. But now you got a little bit more of the side change. You got a little bit more pocket money. Now you feeling restricted. You feeling imprisonment of the imprisonment. And I'm going to go ahead and free my trumpet to go ahead and be blown every which way. It wasn't a problem. You wasn't performing nothing. You were happy to have the support of those women. The woman that you were probably dating. Because in the beginning you said you dated someone like maybe for 3 years. You dated someone for like maybe 5 years. You wasn't performing. And they weren't performing either. They were supporting you. They were seeing you through. But now we calculating, we're like, I'm restricted, I'm connected, I'm the thing.
I understand the like the deeper, like, you know, I understand that, but then there's a part of me that just had questions. So I went through some phases where I'm like, well, why? Why do we do it like this? And is this how I want to do it?
You ain't never considered all those when you was broke though. You ain't never considered that. When ain't nobody knew who you was, when nobody knew how to spell your last name, you ain't considered that. You ain't asked why. Why are we like this? You ain't had no question. You wasn't calculating when you was broke. But as soon as there's a little change on the side, now we calculating, we carrying the 3, we asking the questions, we asking, we writing the essays, we doing all of the questioning. Now we curious. Because your money has opened like this, your eyes has opened like this. People are now seeing you like, here, dark skin, chocolate black man. Like, oh my gosh. Now we got questions.
And from observing people who play those roles, my parents included, I see some blind spots. You know what I'm saying? Does that mean we have to throw away the whole system? Not necessarily. Like, I honor the tradition.
Y'all wouldn't ask questions if you didn't have access to all these women who are coming at you. And let's keep it a bug. It's typically the ones that ain't knew you from nothing that genuinely got love for you. Everybody else is riding. Everybody else is cloud chasing. Everybody else is like, oh my gosh, I'm with Kofi. Oh my gosh. Like, it's really that important for you to be able to just put what? Your trumpet in everywhere? It's just important for you to go ahead and blow your trumpet in every canal that you can. And we got to go ahead and tootsie roll and do all the things. No. Sometimes self-discipline is sexy. Sometimes just like honor and integrity is really sexy. It really will take you in rooms and it will really give you peace that you cannot even explain in any other way. Integrity will do that. It will do that. Comment down below and let me know. But to me, it's just kind of like, just go and cheat in peace. We ain't got to start questioning the questioning of the dissertation that are disordered. Just go ahead and cheat. You could cheat in peace. It's a lot of women that don't even mind you cheating. You know what I'm saying? Girl, get you Jasmine. What's that baby's name? The one that has the kids by the dude that has the magician, or whatchamacallit, the dude that wears the magician hat the whole time. I'm forgetting his name. But that baby stay embarrassing Jasmine in front of the people of God. Get you a Jasmine. We could cheat. We could just cheat. We ain't got to be the dissertation, the questioning and the hypotheses and the equation that we're trying to create and give to the people of God and package it like a load of bullshit that it is. We ain't really got to do that. Go ahead and cheat. It's all right. It's all right. It ain't all right because a lot of y'all gonna catch syphilis. Okay, then your trumpet gonna be out of tune. But it's all right. Go ahead and cheat. But please spare me the dissertation and the calculations. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that I need to be spared of, I'm going to make a separate video on this to really go in depth, but I mentioned this even in my last video that I did when I was talking about pop the balloon. But honestly, these days, being a Christian or labeling yourself as a Christian is just becoming exhausting and embarrassing, right? And it's like, by that I mean, the Christian that I am and the Christian that some of y'all be, It's different, but the language is still the same. We're all Christian, right? Like you have the Christian nationalists who got us in this predicament with y'all's president in the office, who done went back, trying to find executive orders to roll back the Department of Education, among many of other silly things that this baby has done in office ever since he's been elected by y'all. Those people and me, the kind of Christian that I am, we are being grouped in the same, and I don't like it. It's embarrassing because at this point, I love Christ. I'm a lover of Christ. That's going to be my label now. I'm a lover of Christ. Me and Christ, we go together, because to say Christian, it's meaning something completely different. We already got, women's reproductive, services and rights being revoked with the rolling back of Roe v. Wade. We already got that going on. Then we got our good sis over here, whose brain is currently in Yemen, whose empathy is nowhere to be seen. Not even in Jerusalem, you cannot find the empathy for this baby. And this is what she had to say.
If you're a Christian, I don't believe that you can support IVF. Now, my opinion has changed about IVF over the years, and I know that it is deeply personal. But hear me out. If you are under the age of 35, the average amount of embryos that are made are 8. IVF has a 30 to 45% success rate. If we believe that life begins at conception, then what about all the embryos that fail? What about all of the embryos? That means that you are more likely for the embryo to die if you believe that life begins at conception than for the embryo to stick. We are playing God. If we believe that God is the one who opens and closes the womb, then allowing a doctor to try to do it when it only has a 30 to 40% success rate, that means it has a 60 to 70% fail rate. That means that all those embryos are just going to be either frozen or unalived, like are not going to exist. So how is that believing that life begins at conception? There are people that literally are adopting embryos. So again, I get it. I know it's a highly emotional and sensitive issue, but we need to be philosophically consistent.
The policing of women's bodies at the hands of the government is exhausting. The policing of women's bodies at the hands of the church is even more exhausting. On one hand, no matter how you became with child, keep the child. What? People get harassed, people get, raped, people end up with child under so many heinous situations, under so many heinous circumstances. But we want to police that. We want to withdraw the care that women need to go ahead and do what's right for them. We want to remove that. And then under the same breath, for the women who are actually struggling and they actually want the children, for the men and women, because, fertility issues, unlike the many popular beliefs, fertility issues don't tend to just be a women thing. Women tend to be the ones blamed the most, but sometimes you got dudes who also have issues, right? If as a dude you catch some syphilis, there may be a chance that you're not going to be able to give nothing and a half. Okay? Your swimmers, they're going to be like, can't go nowhere, can't meet no egg, because all that syphilis that God shows swimmers. Then baby's like, crackhead swimmers. That's what you're going to end up with. Okay? So unlike the conversation, people have fertility issues for many reasons. Many reasons. So for those women who are still trying to go ahead and start the family, which I've been told them that's what they're supposed to do. Have the kids. As a woman, you're just supposed to have the kids, have the kids, have the kids. Be fruitful and multiply the things, multiply the things. And you got people who are struggling and are not able to do that naturally. And you're still going to try to demonize them for using the very same thing. The knowledge to be able to do that comes from God. The knowledge to be able to create half the things that we've been able to create, it comes from God. It does. But for y'all to still criminalize women, to still criminalize them. It doesn't make sense, because under that same logic, if you're a woman and you've ever used a Plan B, that means you're a murderer. If you're a woman and you've ever used an IUD, you are a murderer. Because in some of those cases, conception does happen. You got the egg that goes ahead and meets the sperm. The swimmers that finally make it. Gonna go down into the, what's them tubes called? Fallopian tubes. Them tubes on the side of your uterus. Right? Like on the side of, like, if this your uterus, them tubes that go right here, them fallopian tubes. Right? So if you got them swimmers that gonna make it through, whatchamacallit, your, what is that, that your, past your cervix, right? They're gonna swim through, then they're gonna swim through and go across. With the IUD, some of them can also go ahead and make it through the tube, find the egg and be like, what's up, homie, how you doing? What's up, little mom? I see you shining, I see you ready. And the head gonna be like, okay, spermie, I see you, come on through. And the two of them gonna come together, you're gonna have your zygote. Right? And then they're going to try to swim up out of the fallopian tube to go ahead and attach itself into the freaking the uterus line. What is it called? Hold on. Let me make sure I get the name right. Uterine line? Is it the uterine? Yeah, the uterine line. Right? Like in the little lining inside uterus that goes like this, like that. So that baby gonna come out of the fallopian tube, the zygotes, they go together real bad. Yeah, now, because that swimmer, that baby, that Michael Phelps, or the swimmer that Bean made it through, right, gonna meet the egg and be like, what's up? I'm finna scramble you real good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? And the egg gonna be like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool or whatever. And together they gonna be a zygote. And then when they try to go ahead and come up out of the fallopian tube and go ahead and attach the lining, guess what the IUD gonna be? Not on my watch. Gonna go ahead and delete the zygote, like gonna end their love. They're gonna Titanic their love. Are you gonna say those women are also a murderers for having an IUD? Where is the line that stops the policing of women's bodies? According to y'all Christians, where is the line that stops? Where is that line? Because at this one it's giving, you know how you had the woman with the issue of blood? The way y'all are going, it's giving, if that woman existed today, y'all would do everything to shame her, to not give her the care that she needs, to not support her, to just disrespect her, to shun her from society. It's giving that's what y'all would do to her. And you will all do it in the name of God. Whole time when Jesus came, what that baby do? Healed her. Healed her. Loved on her. Being a Christian these days, low-key embarrassing. At this point, I'm a lover of Christ. Lover of Christ. Because the rest of you are crackheads. I'm sorry. Whole time, you also then got stories of all these preachers who are found, you know, assaulting their members, raping their members. You got preachers of mega churches harassing, hurting members. Mind you, the deacons and them being new. We're not policing that. We're not talking about that. If you talk about it like, oh, thou shalt not my anointed. We're not giving light to that. But when it comes to women's bodies, we gon'. Y'all are exhausting. So I guess if before you could try to be philosophically sound, at least locate your brain. And if you cannot find your brain, open the Bible and find the love of Christ and find some empathy for people and find some common respect for people. Christ would want you to do that. Christ would want you to do that. And under that video, you have comments of people like, yes. Are y'all okay? It's a lie. It's a lot going on. And speaking of a lot going on, did y'all see that story of that guy, you know, who got swallowed by a whale? That person that was, I think they were like kayaking or something, but that baby was swallowed by a whale. Did y'all see that story? I'm going to try to see if I could leave him like an article or something, or like a little video. But that baby, like, have you ever been swallowed? That baby was swallowed. I'm sorry. Ain't no way I'm without proof, ain't no way I'm believing that. So you mean to tell me a whale what whale was it? A beluga whale? Was it a blue whale? Like, what kind of whale was in there to swallow our good brother? What is going on? If you tell me that, I'm not believing you. I'll be like, really? You mean to tell me you ain't come home because somebody been swallowed you up? Sir, if you don't get, without proof, ain't no way you telling me that story. And thank God there was like a video of it, like somebody captured it and the whole thing. And I was like, dang it. What is going on for the people of God? Jonah. What's going on again? Why is your spirit harassing the people of God? Jonah. What is this? That story was crazy. I was like, ain't no way I'm believing that. Absolutely not. Alrighty, that's it on me, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. I'm so excited to just like grow this page. You know, we're trying to be consistent. We're trying to do all of the things. I already got the 2 videos. Now I just gotta edit it. I have like 1 day to edit and roll everything out because I'm trying to keep my word to myself. It's a lot going on, but we're gonna get it done. So if you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. And comment down below your thoughts on everything that we discussed. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Is there anything that I'm missing? Is there any story that you want me to talk about that's like maybe long format? If that's the case, go ahead and send it to my DM on Instagram. I do my best to check it, you know, maybe once a day, to check like a couple messages and whatnot. So definitely do that. And thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and see you guys on the next one. Bye, Z's.